guys, it is Aoife from Fred Easy Diet Laughing, and I'm here with a weekly wrap up. So this week I got loads of books read, loads of Christmassy books, because I was taking part in a very merry readathon, which was on from the 10th to the 16th, so that is ending tonight, and I'm vlogging that as well, so the vlog for that will go up possibly on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure yet, but it'll go up very soon as well. I've gotten 4 books read in total so far this week, and I'm going to tell you all about them now. And the first book I picked up was The Christmas Lights by Swan. This is a kind of adult contemporary book about this woman called Bo. She is in her 20s, and she is a massive social media, like Instagram influencer, along with her boyfriend Zach. They kind of go and they travel the world, and they're very much like travel bloggers, but they're really Instagram famous, and they get all these brand deals, and you know, it's really like they kind of are almost like, from the outside they seem to be really living like the dream life, but we know like kind of straight away that Bo, while she really loves her life, and there's also seems to be a lot of things that she is running away from her, you know, from where she grew up and her family, and we're kind of trying to figure out like what exactly is going on there, and then they decide that they're going to spend Christmas in this like really remote part of Norway, kind of farm up where like a very kind of mountainous area. We're also getting this other story from like 1936 about a young girl growing up in Norway, and eventually we learn that like this girl who we're learning about is the older woman who is still living on this farm that Bo eventually meets and becomes friends with, and we're kind of trying to figure out how their story kind of relates to each other, how they're similar, and Bo is kind of like, while she's in this farm, is really kind of figuring out like what she actually wants to do with her life, what her relationship really is, and yeah, she's just kind of suddenly hit with a lot of home truth while she's there. I did enjoy this. I do like Swan's writing, and I do love her characters, and I really love the exploration into social media fame, and what it means to kind of be an influencer, and what it means to be a brand versus just your own self online, and how you always have to think about that brand if, you know, you suddenly kind of go there and that's what you are doing online. And it also is a really good kind of there's also great points about kind of the danger of social media fame, and how people can become obsessed with you, and, you know, things like stalkers, or just like being, you know, bombarded with fans in like the corner of a street, and how suddenly things can go from like, you know, you're just enjoying a day out to you're suddenly, you know, in a dangerous situation because of overcrowding, or, you know, just because of fans, and what it just kind of takes, like kind of the toll it takes on someone, and the toll it takes on someone's personal life when things come to that. And I just thought it was really interesting, and I really enjoyed kind of reading about that. I did think this was a little bit too long. It was almost 500 pages, and I think it could have been like a good bit less. I will say kind of just the location of Norway was just beautiful, and the way it was described was amazing. I really wanted to see it, and it made me really excited. I'm going to Iceland at the end of January, and actually made me really excited to go to Iceland, which I know they're obviously completely different countries, but just, you know, the snow and, you know, the ice and everything like that just made me really excited to see something similar, in the Northern Lights and stuff like that, for me to go and see something similar to that at the end of January. So it made me really pumped for that trip, and this was quite predictable as well. I pretty much guessed a lot of what was happening in it, though it didn't really take away from my enjoyment. Like, I kind of liked being like, haha, I was right. So yeah, so I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it. It wasn't super Christmassy, so I think you could actually read this at any point of the year, or any kind of wintry time of the year. It wasn't super duper Christmassy, which I kind of liked as kind of my first Christmassy book of the year. The next book I read was a reread, and that was The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. I went to Amsterdam last week for a few days with my friends, and just being in Amsterdam just kept making me think of The Miniaturist, and it's been 2 years since I read it, and I decided I just really wanted to reread it again after being in Amsterdam and seeing what Amsterdam looks like, the streets, the houses, the canals, and I wanted to reread this and just see if it made things any more vivid for me, and it definitely did, and I definitely did enjoy my reread of this a lot. It's about a young girl called Nella who is in an arranged marriage with an older man, and she moves to Amsterdam from another part of the Netherlands to live with him, and she realises she's actually not just going to be living with him, but she's going to be living with his sister as well, and a couple of servants who are a little bit odd, and doesn't seem to be like the normal servant like employer hierarchy that there is in a lot of other houses. Like, it seems to be a little bit of an odd house, and the marriage is completely different to what she thought it was going to be as well. And she ends up getting a gift from her husband of this kind of miniature house of their house, and she gets in contact with a miniaturist that lives in Amsterdam, and the miniaturist starts sending her these little figures, but it kind of seems like the miniaturist is almost predicting things that are going to happen, and you don't really know whether it's magical realism or it's just something a bit strange going on, and things just kind of get really twisty, and like a lot of things are revealed, and things just like everything just like goes down. And I really enjoy the story. This is the kind of story that there is a prologue which is actually more of an epilogue, but like when you are reading it, when you're reading the prologue, you've no idea what they're like, what it's actually about, who the characters are. So then like as soon as I finish like the last chapter, I go back and reread the prologue again, and I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed just like straight away flipping to the front and reading that again. And I did it the first time I read it as well, and I did it this time. And I just really like books that can make you do that and kind of make you think about things. Not everything. This kind of is a book that like leaves you thinking a little bit about what happened, and you kind of, I think, almost have to make up your own mind at some things, which I enjoy as well. But things were really vivid in this book. Again, after visiting Amsterdam, I really liked being able to picture the streets and stuff, and picturing what they must have been like in the 1800s when this is set. Is it 1800s? No, the 1600s when this was set. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was really vivid. It's so atmospheric. Really great for autumn winter read as well. Really enjoyed it, and I gave it a really strong 4 out of 5 stars, just like the first time I read it. After that, I read what is possibly like the booktube book of the year, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was a birthday present from Kirsty over Kirsty's Reviews, and thank you so much, Kirsty, for getting me this book, because I absolutely loved it. And I kind of hate being that person like who jumps on that bandwagon of this book is so good you have to read it, but this book was so good. I completely understand the hype for it. I read it in like 2 days. I really enjoyed it. The writing in this is just exquisite. The characters just come to life. If anyone does not know what this is about, I presume most people do, because everyone has been talking about it this year. This is about a character called Evelyn Hugo. She is a very famous actress from the 50s, and she's telling this journalist basically her life story. And the whole thing about Evelyn Hugo is that she had 7 husbands, and people were always like, you know, there's always this question of who was the great love of her life, and she's eventually going to be revealing this. And there's a lot of like hidden secrets that Evelyn has never really talked about before, and now she suddenly is. So yeah, I just love this. Just the writing in it just really spoke to me. I just loved how it was written. I love the fact that Evelyn really came alive for me, and by the end of the book I was convinced that she was like a real person, and that she was a real actress, and all the movies that she starred in were real, all her co-stars were real. Like I was thinking to myself, oh, like I must look up this movie and like watch this movie, because the way it's just written, it's just so good. It's just so in depth. You just really do immerse yourself in this world, and you really believe that the world of Evelyn Hugo is real, and that you can just go off and watch all of her movies because she makes you believe it. I loved how unapologetically herself Evelyn was. Like she did a lot of things like early on in her career. Like she was a very sexual person. She was a very beautiful person. She was a woman that men desired, and she used that to kind of pave her way into Hollywood, and she used that to, you know, to get her way. And she's not like, you know, she's not sorry for that. She's like, no, if men are going to, you know, be like that, I'm going to, you know, use that to my advantage. And I really enjoyed how unapologetic she was about that, because I feel like a lot of the time women are almost made, not so much anymore, but definitely they used to, like they are made to feel sorry for being sexual people and for being desired. You know, women are always almost punished for being desirable by men. And I love how, you know, she completely used that to her own advantage. And yeah, I just loved, like she did like so many things that were a bit like immoral, kind of made me go, oh, like would I do the same in that situation? And you know, she does what she has to do for the people she loves, and sometimes it is not the right thing, but she still said it. She was like, if I had to do it again I would, because you know, it's for the people I love, it was for my family. And yeah, she was just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loved this. I knew there was going to be a twist in this, and I was really I did not know what to expect, but I did eventually like guess it. Once you kind of get to that point and you're like, like it has to be that, you know, you can kind of figure it out yourself, but that doesn't come until like quite like, you know, the last bit of the book, and I kind of liked being on the edge for most of the book to figure out what this kind of twist was. So yeah, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. I'm completely fan casting this as well. I have Armie Hammer as young Harry. Harry, the character in this, was fantastic. He's like the friend that every girl wants. He's just a fantastic friend. Their friendship was just so beautiful. I absolutely loved it. He was one of my favourite characters. But yeah, I'm totally fan casting Armie Hammer as him, as young Harry, and maybe Colin Firth as older Harry, and then Eleanor Tomlinson from Poldark as Celia. Haven't decided on Evelyn yet, so if anyone has any fan castings going on, let me know below, because I've had so much fun fan casting like what a movie of this would be. Yeah, it's just been so much fun. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars, absolutely adored it. And the last book I finished today was Dying for Christmas by Tammy Cohen. This is like a Christmas New Year's themed thriller book. It is about a girl called Jessica who gets kidnapped by this man for the 12 days of Christmas, and we are like kind of following her account of what happened in the 12 days that she was captured by this man. And halfway through the book kind of flips a little bit, and there's like this little bit of a twist, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed kind of figuring out like what the hell is going on. It was a bit of obviously a complete kind of genre flip from Evelyn Hugo, and I enjoyed that as well because I needed something a little bit different after Evelyn Hugo. So yeah, I did enjoy this. There was the side plot of the police officer who was investigating Jessica's disappearance, who had all this crap going on in her personal life, and you know, I don't always enjoy that with thrillers or with crimes where you have the police officer who is like this tumultuous personal life. Sometimes I like it when they're just police officers and they're doing their job and you know, things don't get really twisted. It's just a bit of a trope that I don't really like. Where this one, like, there were some interesting things brought up about women, working women, and how mothers are sometimes, you know, how hard it can be for working mothers, and how there's like double standards for working mothers versus working fathers in terms of, you know, being late or taking days off for kids and stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting that that was put into it, and it was a very strong theme for the police officer. Jessica's storyline was just insane. Like, just it was just, I can't really say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but I did quite enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was just like an entertaining read, and yeah, I enjoyed kind of trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I liked some of the twists and turns that it did take, so a 3.5 out of 5 stars. That is everything I have read this week. Loads of Christmassy reads, loads of really entertaining reads. I had a really good week of reading, and I'm really happy about that. Please let me know what you guys have been reading. If you've read any Christmassy books, I would love to know any Christmassy recommendations, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!